Everybody welcome Josh to the stage. You're going to love this about branding.
Thank you. Here's the clicker. Okay. Hopefully I don't screw this up. Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everybody. I see some familiar, friendly faces, so it's really good to be here. I know we're running a little behind, so I'm going to cover a lot of ground. It's going to be kind of a blistering pace. Branding basics on a budget. Let's go. Okay. I'm Josh. I'm one half of Serotonin. I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my wife, who is also my business partner and my really partner in everything. And she is the Sarah in Serotonin. And our tag is good work feels good. So we do a lot of different things. Sometimes it's a press release, sometimes it's brand building, sometimes it's content creation, photography, but everything we do kind of falls under the umbrella of either community or communications. So that's kind of what we're here to do on the Kitsap Peninsula. We really exist, we're both 6th generation Kitsap Peninsula. My European ancestors came here in the late 1800s and married into the Port Gamble Sklallam tribe, and they moved to Port Orchard in 1890, the year the city was incorporated. So we have deep roots. We love this community, we love the peninsula, and really we exist to serve. Here's some of the folks that we've worked with or alongside, or brands we've supported and created in some way. It's kind of an old, there's things to add there, it's kind of an old representation, but really we're here for you. Our goal is to raise the creative capacity and the community, amplify the community across the peninsula and across really all verticals of small businesses, everything from the farmers markets to, big operations, maybe like Marina Square or the ports and things like that. We're really here to serve. So if this was a branding talk 100 years ago, I'd be talking about how not to get kicked by a cow, or how hot to get your iron. Oh wait, is there any cattle ranchers in the room? Am I safe there? Okay, we'll move on. Oh, there we go, Joe, yes. But branding these days, the term has evolved significantly. I assume they're still searing cows with a hot piece of metal. I don't know that for sure. But what we're here to talk about is really this Rubik's Cube of what? Of logo, of brand aesthetic, of your font, your name, your typeface. And a brand, a lot of people think, well, my brand is my logo, or my brand is, that's a part of your brand. The brand is really the sum of the parts, all of the things that we do to communicate visually, linguistically, even communicate through package and product design, the way our employees or associates dress and the way they speak, the words we use. The brand is the amalgamation of the sum of all these parts. And there's some of those things that you can control. You can control how your logo looks, you can control the name of your business. But really, at the end of the day, the brand resides inside the mind of your customer and your intended audience. Your brand is the narrative that they tell themselves about you and about your role in their lives. So trying to massage and manipulate that, do everything we can to create an emotional connection and experience, a shared narrative, is kind of my take on branding. And what effective branding can do for you, I mean, hopefully it makes you some money, right? That's what we want to do. We want to create customer and leads. And you do that by differentiating yourself, by creating a brand that takes up some mental real estate in someone's mind, that increases brand loyalty, turn a one-time customer into a repeat customer, into a brand champion, deepens community, builds relationships, increases awareness. This is all these things that effective branding can deliver regardless of what vertical you're in. And if we just kind of take a step back and think about, we all have our individual enterprises and organizations, but we're all under this powerful umbrella of brand Kitsap. And I think that this is really a huge benefit. Pacific Northwest has a really strong brand, and the Kitsap Peninsula is this specific microcosm of the Pacific Northwest. So regardless of how you're presenting yourself and what vertical you're in, we are all collectively strengthening brand Kitsap. And so if I were starting a brand from scratch today, I would really start from the 30,000 foot level of how do I fit into the brand Kitsap narrative? Because chances are your customers, your employees, and yourself lives here, and you're already in the soup of brand Kitsap. You're here, so you're moving around in this space. These big archetypal concepts like gosh, the view of the Olympic Mountains, the megafauna we enjoy, our communities, our different heritage, the cultural heritage, the maritime heritage, the 371 miles of shoreline, all this comes together to create a very powerful brand for us as a collective that I think we can be the beneficiaries of. So as I was thinking about branding, I was kind of like trying to choose my metaphor, like, is it an onion? Is it an iceberg? And then my UW communications professor started cringing as I was mixing my metaphors. So I asked AI to create me an onion iceberg. So thank you, Midjourney. We're going to talk a little bit about the top of the onion iceberg, and I'm going to use my time to dive into what's below the surface. So a lot of times we think of branding as the top of the iceberg stuff, the logo, the name, the tag, colors, font. But below the iceberg are your values, your story, your brand archetype or persona, and the story and the heroes. And so since budget is in the name of this talk, I wanted to kind of chunk these up. The top of the iceberg stuff, you're probably going to spend some money on. And I want to pause here and just advocate for spending that money with Kitsap Peninsula artists, designers, studios, whether it's North Made, marketing, Kylie Danskin and her team. I like Kirsty Judkin's design, even just up the street, Fingers Duke. What an amazing collection of artists and designers. So tap them in. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, but this is really hiring local design firms to dial in the visual aesthetics, the surface of the onion iceberg is going to be money well spent. And then so what we're going to kind of dive into today, where the budget comes in, is that all that below the surface stuff is stuff that you control in your headspace and in your heart space. We can kind of dive into that. And the more we understand about our values, our story, our brand hero, our archetypes, if you do this work, and then let's say you're building a brand from scratch. If you do this work and you bring this information to a brand designer, say, here are my brand values, here's my brand story, here's my ideal customer, here's the problems I solve for them. You're giving them this treasure trove of information about your brand, your organization, and what you intend to do in this community that's just going to make their job way, way easier. And I understand that there's new businesses here, there's businesses that are new-ish, and then we have like legacy organizations who are like, I'm not making a new logo anytime soon. I mean, but with your legacy organization, I mean, not everybody, Kitsap Bank's been around for 116 years. Not everybody's been around that long, so you're probably not going to change your branding this year, but maybe if your legacy organization, you think about, well, gosh, am I communicating our shared values with our customers in an effective way? Am I really dialing in on the narrative of my brand hero and how I intersect with their story? So I'm just going to dive right into a couple of these concepts. The brand values, really for me, this is the got ahead of myself. For me, this is really the crux, is the shared values between us and our intended audience is really where the rubber hits the road. Maybe you have a service they can't do without, the sink explodes, you need a plumber. You're not like, oh, I need a plumber that shares my sense of beauty and purpose in the world. Like, no, I need my kitchen not to be flooded. But a lot of the times, when it's not an emergency and we're really trying to reach people on a narrative, emotional level, the brand values and understanding deeply your brand values is really, really important. The archetype is really the personality of your brand. The archetypes are deeply ingrained. It's a term that the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung came up with in the early 1900s, and it's these ideas that are in our mind that you don't have to think of, they're just there. Like the archetype of the mother. When a baby's born, nobody needs to explain to them what a mom is. You're born with these concepts in your mind already. So the brand personality, the brand archetype, we'll dive into that a little bit too. The brand lore or the brand story is the backstory or the origin story or kind of the brand mythology, the why and the how of what you're doing, what you're doing. You kind of heard some of that with our restaurant friends. How did you get here? What challenges do you face? What is the story of your why and your how? And then the brand hero is your target audience and what you know about them and how you intersect with their life. So we'll start with that. I think maybe this got out of order. We'll come back to the logo, the name, the tags. This is all the top of the surface stuff, top of onion iceberg. I don't want to get my metaphor messed up here. So values. Again, one of the most important things you can do is understand the shared values that you have with your intended audience. And here's just some off the top of my head, and based on things I read. I read a book in 2011 called Winning the Story Wars. If you're a marketer, I really suggest this, and that just changed the way I thought about. And at that time, I was a travel and tourism content creator, and I was working with hotel brands, I was working with tourism boards and PR companies all around the world, and they would fly me in, and I would have to create content in a matter of a few days. And having a map of understanding what their values are and what the values of their intended audience allowed me to hit the ground running. So I would have these conversations beforehand, these deep, below the surface conversations, so I can hit the ground running and know what core values are they really trying to express, so I can do that work for them. Beauty, freedom, connection, generosity. So maybe think about this later. You'll get the slide decks will be available, but think like, what 3 values, doesn't have to be these, it could be something else, what 3 values do I express through my brand, or do I endeavor to express that are shared values with your intended audience, your customer? Next is the archetype. I talked a little bit about that. Really, it's your persona. It's the brand, it's what you represent, the kind of the character that you represent in a larger fashion. The muse it would be a brand that, if you run a salon or a stylist, the muse might be your brand because you appreciate and you elicit beauty in the world. If you're the captain, that means you've charted the course, you've been there before, and you're here to guide the crew and your passengers to a specific destination. You can be trusted as that leader. If you're a defender, maybe you work in the nonprofit world and you're working with marginalized communities and you have a sense of justice and you're there to defend those that can't defend themselves or need aid to be marshaled in their service. There are so many archetypes that are available to us, and understanding where you fit really helps you take your values, understand what is the persona of my brand, the sage. You have encyclopedic knowledge, you're wise, you help people understand things about the world, they can come to you for wisdom and answer questions. Understanding what your archetype is really gonna be a powerful way to inform your tone of voice, how you speak to people, and know beyond the specifics of your products and services, what on a larger level you're trying to be for our community here. And brand lore, brand story, this is something I'm a big fan of. And again, like Restaurant Friends got into this, it's like the origin story, talk about that. Founder story, maybe you have specific, it might not be slang, but maybe it's lingo specific to your vertical or to your business. Customer hero stories, talking about awards and milestones. Product stories, what was the problem that you were trying to solve? How did you come up with this idea for this specific product? All of this contributes to kind of the mythology of your brand. And again, under the surface, it's not something that you see from 50 feet away. It's something that you incorporate subtly in the internal culture of your brand. So your employees are really the beneficiaries, first and foremost, of this, so they understand what they're representing, what the history is behind that. But it's also stuff that you can really inform your social media, your newsletters, your website copy, things like that. So the next element is the brand hero and their journey. I am a big fan of the hero's journey. You guys, anybody heard of the hero's journey? Joseph Campbell was a comparative mythologist in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He died in 1989, but he discovered this story formula that he said was throughout culture, he saw repeated over and over and over again. And it's the story of a hero. It's the story of a hero that finds themselves in a world that is somehow lacking something, and they need to escape the ordinary world to go on their adventure, to face challenges, make friends, fight the dragon, seize the treasure, and return back home to reinvigorate the world, to recreate the world that they left. And so this is the story of Star Wars, The Matrix, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, you name it. In fact, for Star Wars, George Lucas had Joseph Campbell come to Skywalker Ranch, to his home, and they created the original story of the first 3 Star Wars to make a modern mythology following the hero's journey map. Now, you're like, what does this have to do with me? Well, right? So, okay, it's all coming together, right? Everybody is a part of their own narrative. We're all in our own heads, we're all telling ourselves a story, and you hear it all the time, we're the hero of our own story. Now, as brands, we can fall into the trap of thinking, well, I'm the hero, and I'm the hero because I'm here giving you something super special that I've worked really hard on. No. Your customer, your audience is the hero. So understanding where they're at in the story cycle, where you meet them in their hero's journey. And if you Google hero's journey, I didn't want to throw up a random kind of hero's journey slide, so I kind of made one here. But when you understand where you connect with them on a narrative level in their journey as an individual that has a goal in mind, that is facing challenges, it can be extremely powerful. So if you haven't already, I know a lot of organizations do this, but create a customer profile. Like, who is your brand hero? Make them up. Give her a name. Give her quirks. Like, does she have any weird phobias? Like, where does she want to go on vacation? Create a profile for this person, so when you think about who am I communicating with, or a series of people, maybe you say, well, I can't boil it down to one, make 3 brand heroes, and delineate how they're different from each other, and how your organization, enterprise, interacts with their unique hero's journey. So using the lingo of the hero's journey and thinking about our specific brand hero, we ask ourselves questions like, the world is lacking something. What is it? You understand the need. You understand the need. Every hero in these stories has a call to adventure. Somebody comes into their life and says, follow me. It's Gandalf, taking Frodo with the dwarves or whatever. Everybody, and as a brand, we have a unique opportunity. This is one of the big ones. It's the call to adventure, the call to a life beyond what is currently known and expected. A special gift. The mentor encounters the hero, the brand hero, with a special gift. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a lightsaber. Luke Skywalker brought him forward into the adventure. What challenges are they facing? What successes are they aiming for? What allies are you bringing in? All of this is language surrounding the hero's journey, and I think as brands, we can look at our heroes and say, here in their journey, I am helping them face this challenge. I am giving them this brand gift, which is a tool on their adventure. I am introducing them to allies, to organizations, to partners that are going to assist them. Really, really powerful when you kind of get into the meta-narrative of people's lives. So that's the bottom of the onion iceberg. The top of the onion iceberg, logo. From 50 feet away, what do you see? You make your mark. It should be unique, memorable, clear. Name and your tag, your tagline. Speak in a language. Think about those archetypes. Think about your values. Now, speak in a language that signals that very clearly. Not just what you call yourself in your tag, but the type of language that you use in your copy. It should signal, if it's not signaling the values that you know you hold as a brand, go back and retool that. Think about that. Typeface and font. It can say a lot about the qualities that you feel your brand has. Is it a flowing, funky font? Is it super sleek and spare, sans serif modern? Is it a classic kind of serif font? All of these things really signal really strongly about how you feel about your brand and what emotions you're looking to elicit when people even just read your name. Aesthetic language, colors, icon, tone of voice, packaging, your swag, what your associates are wearing. And just kind of break some of these things down into our brand, Serotonin. Here are our logos, and they are hexagons because serotonin is a neurotransmitter molecule. I know it's like science talk, but it's associated with the neurochemicals that give us feelings of goodness and joy and happiness. And so we call ourselves serotonin. We say good work feels good. So that's hearkening. So the hexagon harkens back to the molecular structure, the science nerdy stuff. The tag, good work feels good, we believe that feeling good allows you to do better work, and better work allows you to feel good. And there's this cyclical cycle about being good, feeling good, and doing good. Brand typeface. Our values are, of that list I showed, goodness, community, and service. Our archetypes are the magician and the communicator. The magician pulls things out of the realm of creativity, the imaginal realm, to make new things possible and inspire wonder and awe. And the communicator is simply that, it's the guy with the microphone up here with a clicker. There's our brand colors that we selected for like maximum cheerfulness is really the idea. And when I was thinking about this presentation this morning, I put on a shirt and I wanted to, I'm wearing our brand colors. So that's another kind of example of you represent yourself on every level. You're representing yourself in your brand. So really try to embody that. Next I want to talk about Love Kitsap. And Love Kitsap, I'm going to talk about some of these brand elements as well. We launched, Sarah and I, we launched this about 5 years ago, and it was we called it a digital magazine because that sounds way cooler than a website, right? Come on. And it celebrates the Kitsap Peninsula, guides visitors and locals to experiences that they love. Website, event coverage, original photography, social, kind of traditional PR elements as well, but really with a focus on Kitsap Peninsula businesses and organizations. So an example of the Love Kitsap branding, here's our typeface, Glacial Indifference. It's a very modern spare, but then we have Fabrica, which is like super highly serifed. So you have this push and pull of something that feels modern but also feels classic and playful in a way. Our logo, the heart is meant to kind of, we live in this world of emojis, so we're thinking, how do we take kind of emojify this a little bit and almost make like the heart a punctuation. So our website is kitsap.love. So in my mind, that heart is the .love, right? Brand values, exploration, community connection. If you go to kitsap.love, or if you're on our Facebook or anything like that, everything we do and say, everything we communicate is either trying to inspire exploration, is trying to celebrate this community, or trying to connect our audience with an experience or the community at large. And our brand archetypes, as I see them, is the adventurer and the captain. The adventurer, follow me, I know the way. Oh my gosh, there's a cool waterfall up ahead, or this restaurant has the best happy hour, or here's where the farmer's market and the best, this guy has the best produce to come here. The adventurer is up for anything, and the captain's been there before, and they can show you the way. So those are the shape of our brand as I see it. And brand aesthetic, experiential, hands-on, the photography, the way we speak, the copy, it's never from a 30,000 foot level, it's always with hands-on. We're showing a picture of something, we're doing something. It's because we're actually there. We're lucky enough to be able to go around the community almost every week and cover events, go to restaurants, a farmer's market. There's still so many places to go. You can live a lifetime here and not experience it all. So that's kind of the Love Kitsap brand. And here's just a couple of snippets from our website to kind of show how these things kind of come together. So these are original articles we put on the website. Always, again, exploration, community connection. We're always trying to equip you to explore, bring you deeper into our community, and connect you with others, connect you with locals, connect you with guides, business owners. We took those three principles. This summer we created a campaign called Secret Summer. So we interviewed and spent time with business owners, creatives, entrepreneurs, and kind of let them be the voice of the Secret Summer campaign. Inviting people in for exploration and empowering. We get to talk about their business, but we also get to talk about their favorite place to go to happy hour, their favorite trail to hike on. Again, everything in mind, these are original article titles. Everything we do is using the branded elements, and everything we do is through the lens of the adventurer, the captain, who is seeking to inspire connection, community, and exploration. We created a sister brand called Explore Kitsap. ExploreKitsap.org launched a few months ago. It's a digital visitor's guide, and the thing that really sets Explore Kids apart from a lot of, really anything I see in the space right now is that there's nothing to click on. We kind of took the idea of a magazine. If you're flipping through a visitor's guide magazine, you don't have to click on a hyperlink that opens up a different flap in a page. So I kind of thought, I want what people love to do, especially people of the younger generation, it's scroll. Nobody wants to really click around on a bunch of stuff. It's scroll, it's scroll. So we created Explore Kids app. It's one page, but it has the content of a website that has about 100 pages. So it's the infinite scroll. And we created this sister brand to Love Kids app, and we wanted to take elements from Love Kids app. So we took the brand shape of Love Kids app and we just tweaked it slightly. We took the heart and we put it to a waypoint to signal that we are a travel tourism destination guide, resource for people. Again, using some of the same elements from Love Kids app, but tweaking it slightly to make a sister brand that they speak to each other, they communicate, but they have a distinct brand feel of their own. Even the colors, we picked out the colors, we felt like our Kids app Peninsula colors, and we gave them these names. And we're just, me and Sarah are just like workshopping it, like, ooh, this orange is kind of like the sunset off Sinclair Inlet. Ooh, we like that. We're gonna call that golden hour. You know, the fairy foam, just kind of creating these touch points that have emotion and give you a sense of place. So it's not just like, oh, it's blue. No, it's skyline. It's where the sky meets the Puget Sound. Knowing these things, our customers, our readers don't have to know that we have these cute little names. It is important that we know them and we know why we selected them. Specific icons we use to signal certain things about the brand, where we're going. And here's a couple of snippets from Explore Kids app. .org, where you can kind of see these things come together. Icon use, font, imagery, the lens of exploration, community, connection, and I lost track of time. Am I ahead? Am I behind?
You are perfect.
Am I perfect? Well, thank you. That's it. That's my time. Unless we're doing questions or what are you doing, Joe? I'm a little parched.
So I don't blame you for being parched. Thank you so much, Josh. What we're going to do now is we're going to transition to our final panel. So again, that was an amazing, borderline fire hose of brand information that hit us in the face. And also, we know that you can sell paint colors if you need to.
Oh, all
you can
day.
name paint colors.